Hi, I'm Lexi Sydow, Head of Marketing Insights at App Annie, and I will take you through the State of Mobile 2021 with a focus on e-commerce in India. A quick disclaimer, App Annie is a mobile market estimate service provider. So I'll give you just a second to read through the rest of this here. Okay, so wanted to quickly take you all through the state of mobile kind of at a glance for 2021. So as we entered into 2021, we came off the back of a monumental year. We saw 218 billion new downloads of apps, and that doesn't include reinstalls or app updates. This is a very impressive figure. We saw $143 billion of App Store consumer spend, and that's across iOS, Google Play, and third-party Android in China. And we also saw, on average globally, 4.2 hours per day being spent on mobile, $240 billion across the year spent on mobile advertising. And we also saw significant funds being spent on venture capital to the tune of 73 billion globally. We saw that momentum continue into Q1 2021, where we saw consumer spend was up 40% year over year for the quarter, which is huge. So we're really seeing these trends play out into 2021, and we expect this behavior to continue throughout the rest of the year and really form new habits going forward. A quick note on App Annie, we are the mobile performance standard, and we help businesses succeed on mobile. Okay, one of the key trends we saw was that time spent growth. So you can see in this chart, every country across the board saw phenomenal growth. India in particular saw 40% growth year over year to 4.6 hours spent per day on average, which is huge. It's over 25% of our waking hours. Diving straight into retail. So across the world, we saw that time spent grew phenomenally in mobile shopping. We saw, traditionally we see APAC leads the rest of the world, specifically China and some first movers in certain markets in APAC. But globally, we saw a lot of the world sort of catch up in that regard. And in India, we saw a year-over-year growth of 30% time spent growth, which is huge. And we also saw a major point, kind of a new high, as you can see in this chart here, during the week of Prime Day. So Amazon's Prime Day happened around October 14th last year. And we saw that week in India, as well as in other major markets like the US, Australia, UK, significant time growth. It was kind of the next highest week we saw. And that also set us up nicely for the other major shopping trends that we see, like 11/11 or Singles Day, which is very big in APAC, and then Black Friday in the US. But kind of the shopping season kicked off with Amazon Prime Day, which is that new sort of global shopping day. That's slated potentially to be June this year. So it's something that we'll watch coming up, especially in the retail space, with this type of growth in time spent, even in an already elevated level of time spent in shopping apps at a higher place than they were previously. This is phenomenal to see. So it's something to take note of, especially as we're heading towards June. Once Amazon announces their Prime Day, this would be something to expect, and it's something to signal how to leverage your marketing strategies around this, as well as potentially looking at your keyword strategies and how you might compete for some of that traffic around this time, especially for ASO, along with your normal SEO. So looking at time spent, we saw that some of the breakout apps, this is basically looking at total growth in time year over year. And so some of the biggest players just saw huge booms in that time spent. Flipkart, Amazon, some of the big players in this space. We also saw peer-to-peer marketplaces like OLX, and then grocery retail, which is a trend we saw across the board in almost every market, was another big area, with specifically an emphasis on grocery delivery so that you can maintain social distancing as well as contactless payments. So that's another big area, and Big Basket was number 4 for breakout apps by time spent in shopping in India in 2020. And when we look at Q1, we see, again, a lot of these same players. So continuing those habits that were forming last year and riding off of that momentum, really strong growth in downloads and monthly active users. So you're seeing, again, Amazon and Flipkart dominating the top 2 places for both downloads and MAU. And then we're also seeing a bit of shuffling amongst the kind of fashion-oriented shopping apps, as well as OLX being a major player as a peer-to-peer marketplace. Peer-to-peer marketplaces historically do very well on mobile, given you can take sort of a photo with your phone, you can message directly, there's geolocation capabilities. It's a very mobile native technology to leverage. So we do see in India here, as you can tell, and in other markets, that peer-to-peer marketplaces do particularly well on mobile. Another app we wanted to call out. So this was one of the big players for standout growth in Q1 2021. And we saw really strong growth, and this is over rankings and shopping apps on Google Play. So this was pretty huge. You can kind of see really jumping up in the end of Q4 and then maintaining in the top 25 largely around dipping a little bit at the end of March, but around the top 25 shopping apps. So another one, they offer a lot of good kind of rewards programs and incentives, cashback incentives as well, which could be driving a lot of that growth in the network size. I wanted to touch quickly on finance, since it's very closely related to commerce. We really saw that globally across the board, strong growth in finance apps. And we saw that was the case in India as well. So in India, we saw around 25% growth in downloads and around 30% growth in actual time spent in finance apps. So mobile is really the key to fueling these financial decisions, which extend to retail and shopping. And some of the breakout apps, we see two of the main things we see across the board in most markets, and this is true of India. Trading and investment apps are big and had a big year last year. That was a major theme that we saw, as well as payment apps, facilitating peer-to-peer payments or payments with providers, allowing for frictionless, contactless payments. That was another big theme, and that comes true here. A quick note on marketing and advertising. So in terms of mobile ad placements, we saw really strong growth in 2020, which was counter to a lot of people's expectations, given that marketing budgets shrank. But we actually saw that across the board in every market we analyzed, strong growth. And the real key to that growth was interstitial ads growing much faster than other segments. And we think that a lot of that is when people took their marketing budget and shifted to cheaper inventory. We see that here as well. So in India, it was a 235% growth in total ad placements in 2020. Another quick note, strategic collaborations are key as well on mobile, and it's something to think about, especially for commerce brands or just shopping brands in general, how you can partner with a strategic, either a celebrity or another influencer to drive that organic download, and it can really help cut through the noise. So we saw that with Fortnite and Travis Scott concerts, other collaborations with more of a kind of a retail QSR or quick service restaurant fast food, which was Dunkin' Donuts, and an influencer that got very popular on TikTok, and other sort of major singers as well. So this is a really great technique that could be leveraged to drive that organic growth and cut through some of that noise.